back to the dojo, y'all. Welcome back to the daily discussions. I'm your host, Professor Hawk Sensei, and I'm glad you could join me. I'm glad you're tuning in. The topic of discussion for today: make it make sense. Yes, make it make sense. I love this phrase. And that's really the main reason why I'm bringing this to you today, this topic. I love that phrase, make it make sense. Make it make sense. Because if it don't make sense, it's definitely not going to make a dollar. You need money in this society, right? Okay. But even beyond just the money aspect, sometimes somebody will say something so stupid. It's like, I'm just going to translate it, make it make sense. What you said sounds so stupid. Help me understand this stupidity. Help me understand this stupidity that you just spit out your lips. Make it make sense. There's a lot of stuff that we do in our lives that really don't make a whole lot of sense. Sometimes we just do something just because we felt like doing it. Or we did it because somebody told us that we should. Mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. It happens. But when you make mistakes, you're supposed to learn from your mistakes. That's how you make sense of a mistake. That's how you make a mistake make sense. You learn from it. Okay, I made that mistake. Now I know why I should be more cautious, or now I know why I should be more attentive, or now I know why I should be more alert or astute when it comes to interactions or my surrounding situations, what have you. Making things make sense makes life easier. Yes, because when you're confused or bewildered or in a realm of uncertainty, life becomes difficult, life becomes challenging, life becomes hard, life becomes stressful. We want to make it make sense. It's something my mom used to always tell me. She used to say, everything we do going forward needs to make sense. It needs to make sense. And even if we're not talking about the financial aspect of that statement, we need to be doing things that make sense. It should make sense, right? Just because it doesn't make money don't mean that it can't make sense, right? Sometimes we do things because we need to release. We need to calm ourselves down. We need to get away from it all. Sometimes playing video games is a way to relax, to decompress after a long, hard, trying day. That makes sense. But if you're sitting at home all day playing video games and not making no money, that don't really make sense. And I can say that because I've done that before. Sat around all day, ain't got no money. Can't really do nothing but sit there and play the game. If you ain't gotta pay a monthly subscription, because I remember when Wi-Fi came out, maybe like 4 to 5 years later, there started to be subscription services where you gotta pay for online and all that. Right? The video game companies was like, man, we can make some money off this. This is gonna make sense. I get it to a degree. You got, you know what I'm saying? Buff up that bottom line. But at the end of the day, I'm bringing that example to you because like I said before, making things make sense makes life easy. When things don't make sense, life is much harder. So that's why I'm always constantly telling you and reminding you to do your homework. Look these things up. Google is your friend. You know what I mean? We live in a technological age where information is readily at our fingertips. So if you come across people who are not wise or not even possessing common sense, it's because they chose to be that way. Ignorance is bliss. Some people want to live a blissful existence. I understand that. But the issue is we live in a society where you can just grab information out of thin air. Like, you can just grab it, right? So when you come across people who are, for lack of a better term, dumb, it doesn't make sense to me. It does. You can, in this society, you actually have the ability to pretend to be wise. You probably didn't even recognize what I just said. In this society, you have the ability to pretend to be wise. It is the one thing that you can fake it until you actually make it. Because in your pretending of being wise, you will gain wisdom. You will gain insight. And the reason why I say pretending to be wise is because information, you can just learn anything at any point in time, whether it be through a YouTube video, a Google search, a blog, a post, anything. You can just grab knowledge and wisdom out of thin air. So when you come across people who don't have no sense, it don't make no sense to me. It don't make no sense to me. Because most people nowadays, they spend most of their time glued to a screen. Glued to a screen. So what I do from time to time is, if I'm watching a video, right, and the narrator or the host of the video says something that I haven't heard before, or I'm not familiar with, like a terminology or something. Like, they might say, oh, wow, that's superfluous. I'm like, what the hell is superfluous? Google, superfluous. And then say something like overflow. Like, what I remember the definition of superfluous is, it's like you have the definition of overflow when something's spilling over, but superfluous is like, it's like overflow infinitum. It's just like constant overflow. Like when God said, I will pour you, I will open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing you won't have room enough to receive. That's what he's talking about. That's superfluous. I hope you learned something right there. That's superfluous. It's a weird word, but you know what I mean? Yeah, that's what that means, right? So going back into the subject matter of today, make it make sense, right? All you gotta do is just get a little bit of information, and you can make something make sense. How about that? All you have to do is get a little bit of information, and it can make sense. You may have to talk to the right person. You may have to click on the correct link. You know what I mean? You may even have to just find the correct book or go to the correct place. But really, truly, it is that simple to make something make sense. When something don't add up in a story, you gotta follow the trail. You gotta go for the receipts. Look at the timestamps. Look at the dates. That's how you make things make sense. As I watch YouTube creators do detective work with reporting on stories and documentaries, you know what I mean? That's one thing I love about YouTube, because the ground level journalist now has an opportunity to truly show their stuff. Shout out to anybody doing detective and journalism work on YouTube. I respect you, no matter who you are. Anybody that's giving us cold hard facts, making things make sense, I can respect that and appreciate that. What I don't respect and appreciate is people who get opinionated and they always like to throw their biases into the reporting. I don't really listen to those people. You know what I mean? People who are very opinionated or very high-minded or very, arrogant, those type of reporters, I don't take them serious. But people who are objective and they don't get their feelings and emotions and all that involved into their reporting, I love that. Those people to me make sense. People who get in their emotions and get in their feelings and get distracted with comments and all that, just give us the facts, man. Just give us the facts. Anyway, going a little bit deeper into making things make sense, right? Our lives, more often than not, is a whirlwind of confusion. And I think the main reason why we live in such a chaotic life, you know what I mean, is because we don't take the time to make things make sense. We don't take the time to use our mind. There's this I don't know, is it a dialogue? I want to call it a dialogue. There's this dialogue by Earl Nightingale, right? It's called The Strangest Secret. And in this particular dialogue, Earl Nightingale, he says something that stuck with me ever since I listened to this. He said, the problem with many people today is that men don't think. We don't think. We don't use our minds. And nowadays that we got all this smart technology, surveillance, military, and reporting technology, okay, hope you learned something. Surveillance, military, and reporting. No, surveillance, monitoring, and reporting technology. My fault. Had to get it right. Surveillance, monitoring, and report technology. We got all these smart devices, you know what I mean, making us look dumb. If you don't use it, you lose it. Make it make sense. That's the issue with us today. We are not thinking. We are not using our minds. I bet for all my millennials, you grew up in a school system where you had to remember and understand your spelling. Nowadays, we got autocorrect. So if you've ever been on your phone for years, typing and texting and all that, you get back to some pen and paper, and you're like, hold on, how do you spell? Yeah, make it make sense. We're getting to the point where we don't think to make anything make sense because all the thinking and processing and all that other stuff is done for us. Before we even see the product, when anything's been revealed, all the thinking has been done for you. You don't have to think, just push it and let it go. Or pop it in and let it, you know what I mean, let it fly. Whatever it is. So, before I close the curtains on the discussion today, I want to remind you to make things make sense. And the only reason why I'm really saying it is because life is only going to get more difficult from here. Life doesn't get easier. I'm just letting you know that. Life doesn't get easier. You just get better. You just get harder. You just get more knowledgeable. That's what happens. Life toughens you up. Life gives you more battle scars, mental battle scars, emotional battle scars, and it makes you stronger because what don't kill you make you stronger. So ultimately, at the end of the day, when the chips fall where they may, the fat lady sings and it's all over, remember to make it make sense. Whatever you're doing, make it make sense. Stop all this stupid stuff that people are doing. Please don't crash out. Unless your crash out makes sense. Please don't unalive unless your unalive makes sense. Please don't hurt nobody unless your hurting somebody makes sense. What I'm saying is, whatever you do from here on out, make it make sense. Think about it first. Think twice. We can really make our lives more difficult because we didn't take the time to make it make sense. I saw a video the other day of a guy talking about 5 minutes of my life took away 5 minutes of making the decision took 10 years of my life away. Some guy who was shooting in the club. He said a minute he was thinking about being disrespected. The next 2 minutes he thought about some other stuff. You know what I mean? All I'm saying is within 5 minutes he thought of everything that was going on in the current situation. He decided, I'm not taking this disrespect. I'm going to deal with it with this gun right here. I'm going to use this gun to deal with my disrespect. So he got emotional, got wild, crazy, did something that he shouldn't have did, and lost 10 years of his life for a decision he made in 5 minutes. And he realized when he was sitting in there that it didn't make sense. He said, I ain't had to do that. That wasn't necessary. So again, whatever you do, make it make sense. Really just think about it. Just one more time before you go ahead with it. Like, what would Hawk Sensei told me to make it make sense? Do this make sense? Before you do it, like Hawk Sensei told me to make it make sense. Do this make sense? Do this make sense? Just ask yourself before you go through, just ask yourself, does this make sense? And if you don't immediately say yes, that's how you know it don't make no sense. Don't make no sense. That being said, Professor Hawk signing out. Hawk Sensei bids you adieu. Hope you're waking up every day with a plan, purpose, and a smile. And if you're not waking up with a plan, purpose, and a smile, hey, at least you're waking up. I want to thank everybody who's come on to the channel. We finally hit 120 subs. I appreciate all of y'all. I want to say thank you. Mwah. I'm going to give you a kiss. No homo. No diddy. You know what I'm saying? I just want y'all to know that I appreciate y'all tuning in, liking the videos, sharing the videos, sending them up, talking in the comments section. I appreciate all of this. All of it. So go ahead, like the video, share the video because you're not stingy, you're not selfish, and subscribe because you came back too many times not to push that button. Now push that button and activate me to do more of this. Take care, y'all.